Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Danilo Caprick here, aka the best dressed man in tech sales. Don't forget it. And in today's video, we are going to break down what are the most common tech sales tools that you should expect to use or get familiar with if you decide to break into this lucrative field. So, without further ado, let's dive in so you can get these insights. A little bit of context before we dive into the tools. The reason why we want to go over this in the first place, you guys, is because if and when you get into tech sales, there are a number of specialized tools that you will have to use day in and day out for your job. So in order to reduce the steepness of the learning curve that you may have when you get started, we want to give you just a quick insight or update into some of these tools, what they're used for. That way you can at least recognize the name if and when you do eventually hear about them. All right, the first tool that we're going to talk about is Salesforce. All right, I have a love and hate relationship with Salesforce, but I'll keep that out of this video. Salesforce is something you're going to see in a lot of software sales jobs. So Salesforce is a CRM, which stands for Customer Relationship Management Tool. It's basically the place where all of your customer data lives. So the name of your customer, their phone number, their contact, their address, who works at the company, number of times that we've reached out, email history, all this stuff lives inside of a place like Salesforce. Salesforce is also the place where you have to update your next steps and opportunities. That way your management can get insight into the deals that you're working on. The next tool that we want to talk about is Slack. All right, Slack, no, we don't mean slacking off, haha. What we really mean is a collaboration tool that is very, very popular and was actually acquired by Salesforce, funny enough. But either way, guys, Slack, you can think about it as your digital headquarters. That's at least what they like to call it. So Slack is where you will be able to send messages, both written, also voice notes, however you want, to anybody at your company. So if you need help from a team that you don't really work with every day, or you need to quickly get a hold of your manager or one of your colleagues, whatever it is, you can send them a message on Slack. The other thing you can do in Slack is search for anything. You can search for files, documents, chat conversations to see if your question has already been answered in the past, which is super helpful, especially if you work remotely and you don't have the ability to tap someone on the shoulder and ask quick questions. The third tool that you can expect to see if you get into software sales, or at least hear about, is Clari. All right, Clari is now a tool that I've seen at 2 organizations I've worked at, and it is used primarily for forecasting. All right, so essentially every single week, month, or quarter, you're going to have to come up with a forecast about the deals that you think are going to close. Clari is the place where you put in that information, so that way, again, leadership has insight into what number you're calling for the week, the quarter, the month, whatever it might be. The fourth tool that you're probably going to see in software sales is a tool that I actually really like, and the company I really like, which is called Gong. Gong positions itself as a revenue intelligence platform. Essentially what this tool does is it listens to all of your sales conversations through Zoom or whatever meeting solution you use, and it breaks down really cool analytics about your sales meetings. For example, it'll tell you how much you talked versus how often your prospect talked. It'll pick up things like how many times your competitor was mentioned, how many times the word pricing was mentioned, and all these other cool analytics. But it also communicates again to leadership the status and the sentiment of your deals based on the interaction you had, based on the meeting, and the number of touches that have happened since the last call. The next tool that you can expect to hear about should you decide to get into software sales is SalesLoft. All right, SalesLoft is a sales engagement platform that essentially allows SDRs and BDRs and account executives too, but mostly those two folks, SDRs and BDRs, use this, and they use it to automate outreach. Okay, if they have 1,000 prospects that they need to send a message to, they're going to most likely use SalesLoft to automate that outreach. The other thing that you can do is create cadences. What a cadence is a sequence of messages that will go out over a period of time. So if you want to send 5 messages to 100 prospects in the course of 2 weeks, you can schedule those touches in a tool like SalesLoft. Similar to SalesLoft, the next tool that we want to introduce is called Outreach. Okay, Outreach is also a sales engagement platform. Again, very, very popular with the SDR and BDR community, and it really does the same thing as SalesLoft. These two firms actually compete, and again, what Outreach will help you do is create those sequences, create those cadences, automate that outreach to your prospects. That way you can touch a large number of folks in a short number of time without doing things manually. HubSpot. All right, HubSpot is probably the most second popular CRM in the marketplace. And again, a lot of organizations use this system to organize their client data. So salespeople will have access to all their customer info here. They'll update their next steps. They might even do forecasting in this, depending how your organization works. but it is a broad use CRM that can do a lot of things, but primarily store and be the digital HQ for your customer information. All right, the last and maybe the most important tool that you will come across in tech sales is DocuSign. All right, DocuSign is something that every single salesperson uses, hopefully, to collect signatures. All right, so DocuSign is a word that we love to hear because we know when we talk about DocuSign, we're getting either super close to a signature or we're at least starting that process. Okay, DocuSign is pretty much a solution that allows people to sign things virtually. So that way we don't have to print things out, manually sign it, copy it, send it back, right? It just allows us to do our job quicker. If someone is traveling, they can sign it digitally. If someone is not in the office, they can still sign it digitally. So again, very, very special tool to salespeople, something we use all the time, and something you should definitely learn about if you want to get into this field. So there you have it, guys. Those are the tools that you can expect to see or at least hear about should you decide to get into software sales. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the subscribe button below. Also, if you're not doing so already, go follow me on LinkedIn. And last but not least, if you're trying to break into tech sales or you're already in sales and you want to learn how to differentiate yourself from 99% of sellers in the marketplace, go ahead and check out the B2B Syndicate, see what we got cooking up over there. All right, with that said, guys, hope you enjoy the rest of the day, and I will catch you all in the next video. Take it easy now.